relatives and members of my community. So today we're talking about permaculture zones, and this is a concept that we often talk about in permaculture to organize our thoughts around zones around our home and how our systems work within our food forest. So, if you take a course or you buy some books, you'll often come across this concept. Sometimes I think originally there were zones 1 through 4, maybe 1 through 5. It just sort of depends. It's not all like canon or everything is the same, right? These are just sort of concepts to help organize your thoughts. So we like to organize our thoughts around zones 0 through 5. And so basically 0 being inside the home and our human spaces where we're eating, sleeping, resting, having our hobbies. And because I'm an artist, I most often focus on zone 0, making the house beautiful, doing my murals, doing my paintings, things of that nature. Zone 1 we can think of as something that's right outside the house and something that we visit quite frequently. For instance, like a cottage herb garden that we're constantly checking on and perhaps clipping herbs for our daily meals. Zone 2 is that we are visiting frequently, if not daily, and these could be like our veggie gardens and maybe our chickens, if we have them, maybe a pond or berry bushes, things of that nature that we are checking on frequently and utilizing in our daily lives. Zone 3 is more occasional visit areas, so things like an orchard, maybe your apiary if you have bees, and then your perennial tree or garden areas. Zone 4 is an area that is less frequently visited, so think of like your wood lot or things on the edge of your property, maybe bordering more of those wild spaces. This could also be an area that you forage or maybe even have some of your mushroom gardens in. And zone 5 is the wild spaces. This is Mother Nature's area. It's not something to sort of really interact with very much at all, other than to observe and learn, because Mother Nature is our great teacher and we can learn from her. So these zones are really just a way to organize our thoughts and organize how we're going to structure our systems. They're not set in stone, they're not canon. You have to know what will work best for your land, for your home, for your yard, for where you are in your climate. And oftentimes the zones will overlap. So it's not as cut and dry as is, spaced out. So there's not any hard and fast things. So it's just a way of thinking about what you're doing and where you're going and where certain things are going to be placed with ease of access for you and your family or your community. So just some ways of thinking about it and some ways of organizing. Hey Luna, are you helping me to paint? Are you helping me? Giving me some inspiration. Yeah? So here's an example of zone 1, and I apologize, a storm kind of rolled in, so I just want to get the footage for you. I hope it's not too windy. But here we have our, our mudroom sort of airlock entrance door there. So right outside of the house, this is our kitchen herb garden. And so we laid down cardboard and wood chips to help prevent some of the grass. Some of it's coming through, but we'll work on that over the years. We have a lot of kitchen items here that we can just dash out. I've used plenty of the thyme and various things and meals that we have here. We started a lot of things in garden bags, but eventually, as we amend the soil, we'll be putting them directly into beds in the soil. And then, of course, here we have some of our starts that we're hardening off out here. And we laid down this this path from this slate that we recovered from our well when we dug a new well. So this is zone 1, next to the house. Very easy, very convenient. So for us right now, zones 2 and 3 are combined. 2 would be more of like your annual garden beds that you need to check on quite frequently. And 3 will be more like things like pasture orchards that is less frequent. But because we have such heavy deer pressure, we have combined zones 2 and 3 within this fenced area. So we have our zone 2 annual beds and zone 3 orchard. So different zones can be overlapped, and that's okay. You just have to remember how to work within your own space and in your own way for what's right for you and what's right for your land.
Here we are in what we would term our zone 4, which is basically we're going to be using it in the future as our woodlot. We're going to be using it as a coppice and pollard woodlot. This first year we're doing observation, so we didn't go and cut down a lot of these different trees. We want to see how different things react, not only to how they react naturally, but how they react under the deer pressure. Because, as I've said before, the deer are always an omnipresent force around here, causing various generalized destruction. But one of the things that we did this past winter, here's a red maple coppice stool. We're going to see how this sprouts, if it does. Here is a red maple pollard. This might be too low for deer browse, but we'll see. This has already got a couple little sprouts. They're hard to see on the camera, but they have a few little buds starting up. So I'm happy about that. When the spring was on, both of these stools were weeping with the maple sap coming up, just like our other maples we made syrup from. These aren't the only trees up here in this area. One thing I'll say about zones in permaculture is they're very fluid, right? We do actually come up in this area probably a few times a day, so it's not like zone 4 where we don't visit it regularly, but we don't observe closely this zone every single day. We come up here because we walk our dog, but we might not be looking at things because we're usually looking at the dog. So one of the other trees we've got here that we're experimenting with is this. This is black locust. And we've got a lot of black locust up here in this area. And so we're seeing if this will coppice here. We're doing this slow. I don't want to go and start cutting down a bunch of trees unless I know what their behavior is. I'd rather have living trees than this all clear cut and then these trees aren't holding on to the slope. So we're going a stage at a time. Eventually, my hopes are to have different stages of this so we can put them on rotation. and we can then use them for firewood and building projects of the different types of trees. The other ones that we're working on down here is white oak. So you can see here we've got, this is all from the big sugar maple, which you can see there in the distance. This is from the giant branch that cleaved off of it earlier. This is some of the brush from it. I'm going to go and turn this into biochar, or maybe some of the larger sections we'll use for a campfire this summer. I think the kids would like that if they could roast marshmallows and stuff. But here, this is a white oak. I've heard white oak also goes and coppices. So here's going to be our coppice tool. Oh, look at that. Can you get a good look at that? Look, Maya, there's a bunch of buds starting on this coppice stool right there. So that's definitely working, that project.
Yeah.
And hello, then, babies. Hello. Hopefully the deer don't eat you all down.
I'll hide it.
And here is a pollard stool I'm testing, and this as well is working. This white oak, you can tell this is coming out this way. So the coppice stool seems like it's erupting more around the bottom, as it should, and this is erupting more around the top. I was thinking it was going to erupt more up around here, but trees will do what trees are going to do. So both of these look like these will work, and we'll see after 5 years from now, 6 years from now, we might be able to harvest from these again. And they'll keep these trees alive for well past my lifetime, well past my kids' lifetime, well past my grandkids' lifetime, for thousands of years if people maintain them.
There's coppice oaks in the UK that are like over 1,000 years old.
Yeah, in the UK, they do coppice oak, but they do coppice hazels.
Oh, okay.
Even more than that. We will be coppicing our hazelnut trees once those get established as well. Here we are with our zone 5. So this is wilderness. Down here, we don't touch any of this land. We're not harvesting any of the trees from here except for maybe deadfalls. One of the main reasons is this is a severe slope. It's to the north. So we want these trees to stay here and stabilize the slope. We don't want to clear cut any of these. We've got a variety of different trees. We've got black cherries, like this one here. We've got yellow poplars or tulip trees. We've got a couple maples, sugar maples. They're coming up. There's a couple different trees underneath. The only thing that I plan on doing here in our kind of zone 5, going down to the creek here, is maybe planting more understory shrubs and bushes that kind of create more diversity. But for the most part, we don't touch this land. One of the neat things here, check this out. We've got some of our May apples are coming up. Just started. We get May apples along the edges here. I don't see them more in the deeper forest. But anyways, that's zone 5. It's a place for nature to be nature. And we have plenty of other land to work on. And we'll be going and turning that all into various permacultured areas. And until we fill that up, we wouldn't touch this, and we're not going to touch this anyways.